Hello, this is my video recording for the final project user tutorial presentation video for machine learning. So to start it off, my name is Zinedine Bautista. I'm a student here at the University of Advancing Technology and am majoring in Advancing Computer Science and Artificial Intelligence. And the purpose for this recording is to present and give a tutorial on my machine learning project, which predicts the stock market. What I assume the audience is here is for either reason number one, they want to learn how to make their own stock market predictor, or reason number two, they want to use my tool to get a better idea on how they want to invest their money into the stock market in hopes to get a profit. Usually this project takes about, on average, 60 to 65 seconds to process all the data that it's given and output results. What I hope the audience will gain from this presentation is either A, the knowledge to know how machine learning can be applied to the stock market, or B, get a better idea on whether a stock is a good idea to invest in or not. So, which goes more into the value aspect of the project. So I think this project adds value to either students wanting to learn about machine learning and the stock market, or people who want help in just deciding whether a stock is a good idea to invest in or not. Why I think this project adds value is because it can be a great way to teach students about machine learning and its applications towards the stock market, or, as mentioned before, it helps people in figuring out their finances with the stock market. And how this project adds value is simply by being given data through web scraping and outputting a graph detailing the date and value of an individual stock, in which the graph can be analyzed by the user to decide on whether this stock is worth to invest in or not. But one heads up about this project is the user experience. So the user experience could definitely be worked on, as we were planning on designing a GUI using tkinter, in which the GUI would be designed where there would be text in the center top, kind of giving an instructional text on how to use the application. And then below that would be a scroll down menu where users could pick any of the individual stocks that the GUI had that they wanted a predicted value for. And then there would be a button below that scroll down menu where the user would click that to process and to start the application, in which below that it would display the graph with the date and the value of the individual stock market that the user picked through the scroll down menu. But other than that, let me go more into emphasis on the code. So for starters, one thing that we used for this project was TensorFlow, which is a open source library for machine learning, which was very helpful for this project. These were just some of the libraries we use. We use just, Math Pandas for data reading, NumPy, and sklearn, and Keras, .model, matplotlib, libraries that we've used in previous projects. One thing to mention also is that, as mentioned before, the project is using data through web scraping, and it is particularly getting data from the Yahoo Finance website, where it web scrapes the data from there for that stock throughout a start date and an end date, and then it just collects data from that specific timeline. So as you can see here, the start date was 2012, January 1st, and then the end date was 2021, March 23rd. So the application, the program would know, okay, I have to web scrape data from Yahoo Finance for the Apple stock for the dates starting from 2012 January 1st all the way to the end date of 2021 March 23rd. And then over here is just more code, just for the let me just close that, for just plotting the actual graph, designing the graph with the titles, the X label, the Y label, and then showing the plot and whatnot. Then getting the data set, the values, training the data sets, and then splitting the data into an X train and a Y train data set. Here's a for loop, which iterates according to the value and the length of the train data variable. and then converting the X train and Y train to NumPy arrays. And also one thing is that this project uses what's called a long short-term memory, which is a artificial recurrent neural network. But other than that, once the entire application is being run, what it will do is first it will display this graph. This graph is basically just the actual stock market graph for Apple. So this is the actual graph you would see in a stock market for Apple, starting from the date 2012 to the current date. And it's just showing you a graph here. But then once that graph is displayed, it'll enter this part of the area of the application where it will actually where the neural network will actually start running, in which it gives you right here on the right side here is where it'll give you the estimated time it'll take for the neural network to finish processing all the data it's web scraped and give end results. And as mentioned before, it usually takes within 60 to 65 seconds on average. And then the end results is basically this graph over here, where as you can see, we have the title, Apple stock, and predictions. On the y-axis, we have close price in US dollars, and then on the x-axis, we have the date in years. And then over here, we have the graph that's also color-coded. So the blue line and the graph is the actual previous value in the Apple stock that it got through Yahoo Finance. And then the orangish reddish line is the actual future value of the stock, and then the yellow line is the predictions that the neural network has decided on. So obviously, to determine how well the prediction was, you basically analyze the orange and yellow lines. So the closer these the more these two lines overlap, then you could conclude that, okay, the prediction from the neural network was pretty accurate. But the more further away the less it overlaps, then you can conclude that, okay, the neural network didn't do so well in predicting the value in these specific time areas. So like over here from this time to this time of the year, the neural network did pretty good in predicting the values of the stock market, but then maybe from 2000 within maybe like mid 2020 to the current year, you can see that the yellow line starts to further away from the orange line. So you can tell from over here at this time constraint, the neural network had some troubles in predicting the value of the Apple stock. But other than that, that is the video presentation for the project. Or actually, one thing I can mention is even though we don't have a GUI, one thing that the user can do is they can just go here in the code and actually change the stock that they want to use. So for example, Apple was used, but if you just search up the stock symbol that a company uses, like for Tesla, you can just put in here the stock symbol for Tesla. And then data source, you'd leave that alone. And then start date, the user can change the start date if they'd like. By default, it's in 2012, January 1st. But the end date can be changed by the user. But yeah, other than that, that's the end results of the video presentation for the project.